What's going on out there, everyone? W.F.S here. Today, we're going to talk about the Star Trek movies, the original first 6 movies, and a question that I have, and actually I've had this question for a while, and I think it's time that we talk about it. Let's start off with the fact that Star Trek the Motion Picture for the fans was an absolute joy in the simple fact that the original cast got back together for new adventures. We had Admiral Kirk, who took a demotion to captain so that he could get the command of the Enterprise back, with the original crew reassembled. And at the end of Star Trek the Motion Picture, the human adventure continues. We were all given the impression that we would be seeing more adventures with Captain Kirk and the rest of the crew of the Enterprise. Enter the Wrath of Khan, a story that 3 years later would bring Captain Kirk back up to the ranks of Admiral, and Sulu and Uhura no longer on the Enterprise, but part of Admiral Kirk's entourage. Not only that, but we find Chekov no longer part of the Enterprise, but part of the Reliance crew, more to the point, the first officer on the Reliant. Well, thanks to Khan, Chekov's career as a first officer goes up in smoke as the Reliant is destroyed. And the Genesis planet now created, the Enterprise, after picking up the crew of the Reliant from SETI Alpha 5, heads back to Earth. But now that the Enterprise is back home, this is where the problems begin for me. Okay, remember now, in the Wrath of Khan, Admiral Kirk, Sulu, Uhura, and McCoy, they're visiting the Enterprise for a training exercise. They are monitoring and evaluating the crew's performance, these cadets' performance on a training exercise. Now that they're back on Earth, you would think Starfleet would order Kirk to report back to Starfleet Academy, but that is not what happens here. Not only is he not going back to Starfleet Academy, he wants to take the Enterprise back to Genesis, but there's no explanation as to why he wants to take it back to Genesis. He still acts like he's the captain of the Enterprise when he's not. The only reason he was a temporary captain in charge is because of the situation with Khan, and he was the highest ranking officer on the ship. What about Chekov? Yes, his ship was destroyed. He was the first officer of the Reliant, and I guess Starfleet would probably put him on a medical leave after the torment and torture that he went through with the SETI eels. But beyond that, his career stays somewhat dormant. For the next 4 movies, he's stuck on board the Enterprise. Not only that, but when Kirk announces that they're going to retire the Enterprise, Chekov goes, "Will we get another ship?" What do you mean we? You weren't assigned to the Enterprise. You were on board there because Kirk rescued you from Khan. What about Sulu? His career suffered because of the events that happened between the Wrath of Khan and the Search for Spock. In a scene that was removed from the film, in the shuttle pod heading to the Enterprise in the Wrath of Khan, they talked about Sulu becoming the captain of the Excelsior after this training exercise.
Enterprise, this is Admiral Kirk's party on final approach.
Enterprise welcomes you. Prepare for docking.
I hate inspections.
I'm delighted. Any chance to go aboard the Enterprise, however briefly, is always an excuse for nostalgia.
Well, if Spock is captain, you don't think I'm going to turn anything up, do you? By the end of the month, you'll have your own command, the U.S.S Excelsior.
Oh, congratulations, Commander.
Thank you, sir. I've been looking forward to that for a long time.
Well, I, for one, am glad to have you at the helm for 3 weeks. I don't think these kids can steer.
Sulu is the one who really got screwed over the most in all of this. From the Wrath of Khan all the way up to the voyage home. You heard the audio. Sulu was supposed to take command of the Excelsior. He was supposed to become the captain of the Excelsior 1 month after the training exercise in the Wrath of Khan. But because of all the events that happened between the Wrath of Khan and the voyage home, that never happened. His career suffered, and he did not become the captain of the Excelsior till 3 years before the events of the Undiscovered Country.
Because of certain mitigating circumstances, all charges but one are summarily dismissed.
So the president has just said that all the charges except disobeying a superior officer have been dropped. All the charges. So you think that they're free and clear, right? Really? Again, Sulu didn't get his captaincy till 3 years before Undiscovered Country, and Chekov never, at least as far as the feature films are concerned, never saw his first officer's job ever again. I love these movies. All of them, from Star Trek the Motion Picture all the way up to the Undiscovered Country. But if you look at this from a military perspective and a career perspective, several characters in this series really got screwed over. Sulu and Chekov were the ones who I honestly feel the most got hosed over in all of this. Kirk was happy because he got to be a captain again. Doesn't have to worry about the admiralty anymore. But I still think that there was just something wrong with the way that these characters and their careers were handled in these series. Well, I would love to hear your thoughts and comments on this, so please drop those comments below and let me know. Until the next time, my friends, God bless.